Hello, this is Ola, your host on The Unpolished Mum, your weekly podcast on all things parenthood, languages and real life struggles. I'm really honoured you've decided to listen to me today, so let's begin. Hi guys, and welcome to the Unpolished Mum podcast. As always, I'm super happy that you've decided to come back and listen to my voice. Thank you so much for all the lovely messages after the previous episode. I found the chat quite inspiring. I admire single parents, so thank you so much for all your support as well. And today, I'm going to be talking to you about something that I've been thinking a lot about recently. I'm not even quite sure if you will be able to relate to it, but I've decided it's okay. I need a reminder of it. So if there is even at least one person who says, okay, I feel the same way, then it's going to mean everything to me. So let's see. So guys, today I wanted to talk to you about how the world is not always black or white. And I wanted to sort of translate it and use a few examples from my personal perspective in life to prove it to you. So there is a reason why when we do all sorts of questionnaires and surveys, there is a few options rather than agree or disagree, right? When you're given like a statement to assess, let's say. So there is usually strongly agree, I don't know, disagree or strongly disagree. And I feel like life is the same. I've recently saw that interesting quote online saying there is no space for black or white in the world full of shades of grey. And I found that quite interesting and quite beautiful. I feel that I'm totally comfortable living in the grey area, you know? I feel that, yes, it is true that my brain very often, I feel that in many people it is a coping mechanism, that your brain tries to understand things in those terms, in zeros or ones, yes or no, always or never, good or bad. But if you don't even sort of notice that there is so much in between all those extremes, you're really missing out. And I feel that you're depriving yourself of something. You're not allowing yourself to reflect on your life choices. You're not making a reflection on how nuanced the world is, okay? So this has been a bit philosophical, but let me tell you about my examples. So my first example is kids, okay? So you either choose to have kids or you choose not to have kids, okay? And there is nothing in between. You are, if you have kids, it absolutely has to mean that you are conscious about it, you love kids, you're gonna, spend every living minute with them, sacrifice your life and be with them. Or you hate kids, you don't want to be around them, you're the person who would support a campaign that would, organize separate flights for people without kids and stuff like that. Like, how ridiculous is that? It's obvious that there is so much more in between, okay? For example, the fact that I have a child doesn't mean that I love every minute of it, okay? Doesn't mean that I don't love myself or that I am not allowed to be, myself anymore. And when I talk about it, when I tell you that, it does feel obvious, because I am a living and separate person from my child. But, we so often forget about it. And then on the other hand, there is, say, my friend who doesn't have any kids. Does it mean that she doesn't, for example, like to play with kids? No, it doesn't. She actually did last time she came and visited. and she quite enjoyed it, but it doesn't mean that she has anything against children. It's just a life choice, okay? It doesn't even mean that she sometimes doesn't regret it, okay? Or it doesn't mean that I don't have the thoughts of, oh, what if I hadn't had a child? Which is absolutely fine. And I know it says, it sounds quite harsh, but that's the reality. And we are allowed to say those things. So that's one example. Another example is, this is a parenting podcast, so, I'm going to talk about parenthood quite a lot. Parenting choices, okay? So there is either choosing to be, say, in the camp of gentle, attached parents, or there is the team of parents who spank their kids, punish their kids, never let them say anything, choose anything, and nothing in between. Again, I lean towards gentle parenting. I do agree with a lot of its sort of philosophies, and it just appeals to me, okay? I think it's logical, but it doesn't mean that sometimes I don't really want to say, the F word to my child because he annoys me, and it isn't mutually those two things, the fact that I am, or I like to, if you want a label, or if you need a label here, a gentle parent, doesn't mean that I don't get angry, for example, or that sometimes I feel like, running away and hiding in the mountains so they can never find me because I'm so tired of it. Okay, the fact that I've chosen to do something, for example, say one of the most controversial choices, co-sleeping. So we still sort of co-sleep with our 3.5-year-old, which is controversial, but it doesn't mean that every night when I go to bed, I think to myself, oh, I love it so much. It's just such a wonderful decision I've made. No, I'm sick and tired of it, okay? But I do understand that my son is still a developing little human being, so he needs it, and it is gonna it's not gonna last forever. It's temporary, and there are nights when I don't mind it. There were nights when I actually enjoyed it, and there were nights when I appreciated it because I didn't have to go anywhere. He could just be there. I could give him a cuddle. We would all go back to sleep within minutes. But, there are nights when I'm like, oh my God, like, how did I get into that situation and into that position? Okay. So I don't understand why people think that certain things are mutually exclusive so much. Or another thing, feeding kids, okay? I was a breastfeeding mom, but I gave him some formula, okay, because he needed it to survive. Okay, and does it mean that I didn't try hard enough? Or all the moms who, combi feed, for example, or express their milk and feed via bottle, that they don't try? It's like I don't even have to tell you how harmful saying that even is. So again, I'm just trying to prove a point here. Then going back to the gentle parenting thing, I feel that there is a lot of taboo around being a certain type of mom or a certain type of person, and then doing something that's, oh my God, so far away from that theme, okay, that people are just shocked. So, for example, I mock parenting quite a lot, but at home, we are actually quite understanding, quite patient. Not me, my husband is. He makes up for the both of us. And again, it's not mutually exclusive. The fact that I do love my child, that he was a planned pregnancy, that everything was the way it's supposed to be, you know. He wasn't an accident, sorry for the word, but just out of a better one. It doesn't mean that I sometimes don't want to have a break, for example. And like people telling me, oh, why have kids if you don't like playing with them, or if you need breaks from them? That's just, oh my God, that's just mean. That's one thing. And the other thing is, have those people who say those things ever even lived or experienced anything? Because if everything was always as easy as, oh, having kids is going to be amazing, you wanted it, so you have it, and you know, you have no right to complain or whatever, they're just, you know, complete maniacs. They have no idea about the reality of life with kids, for example. Or even taking the example of my cousin who decided to split up with her child's dad, okay? And then people telling her, oh, you've chosen it, so now you have to kind of be independent. That's sort of the extreme that you put yourself in that situation. But the fact that she did it doesn't mean that she is not allowed to, for example, sometimes feel bad about it. Does it mean that she's always 100% like, okay, I wanted it, it was a perfect decision, and there was nothing else I could do? No, it doesn't work like that. There are days when she thinks, oh my God, what have I done to myself? So that's just another thing. And here, I think it would be quite natural to mention general life choices. So, say, take job sort of situations and choices. You could either choose to be stay-at-home parent, or a business owner, or a 9-to-5 office worker, or whatever else, okay? And I feel like people think that it's either this or that, and whatever you choose, you just have to stick to it. But why? So when Leon was 14 months old, I went back to work and got a job that I really, really at that time thought was saving my life. That's one thing, because I was in a really dark place. That was a massive promotion, and it was, because from a professional point of view, it was. That is something that I really want and will be able to do till the end of my days. And at that time it felt like that, but then a few months in I started feeling not really, you know. I'm not really made for the office. I'm not really someone who can do an admin job forever. So I've decided to do something else. And I feel like there is this constant guilt when you reflect on your decisions, because as if when you've made a decision, that's final. You can't choose the other thing, because then what? You're not being loyal to your choices. So if you know, on one day you choose white, then the next day, if you've had a thought about it, you cannot choose black because why? Because that's not who you are. I mean, the world doesn't work like that. Or that you can't choose something that is in between. Again, taking parenting choices, so staying at home. Does a stay-at-home mom who's chosen to stay at home, is she not allowed to think of, oh, maybe I should start a professional course and actually do something else, because maybe that's something that will feel good at some point. It feels good to be at home now, but maybe I would want to do something else. And is that bad again? And there are so many people who I've not recently, but I've experienced it a lot in my life,